Hey there, in this tutorial I'll be showing you a step-by-step and easy to follow process that you can use to make your own Amapiano Log drum patterns from scratch in FL Studio. If you're new, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get started. Alright, so this is how the beat currently sounds like. Right, so we're going to create a simple Amapiano log drum pattern before I add all the other spice to make it even more interesting. So the first we're going to do is we're going to pull up Studio DX10. This plugin is a stock plugin that comes with FL Studio, and then you just come to your presets and then you look for log drum. Okay, and when you load it up, it should sound like this. Okay. So we're going to tweak this, but first, before we tweak it, we're going to need to get the scale for our chord progression. This is very important so that our log drums do not sound like they're going off key, okay? So this is my chord progression. By the way, if you need more chord progressions like this that sound really good that you can drag and drop in your piano, whether using FL Studio or any DAW, you can simply visit the link in the description where you get access to crazy inspiring chord progressions. Or just simply drag and drop your piano roll and you're going to get really good chord progressions. So I'm just going to copy this and you understand why shortly. But before copy, it's important to identify your root key for each chord, okay? So this is my root key for this chord. This is my root key for this chord. This is my root key for this chord. And this is my root key for this chord, okay? I'm going to create a new pattern and then I'm just going to paste it. If you don't have the sampler here, you can just click this plus icon, then look for the sampler. Here it is, sampler, so you can load it up again. It's just simply an empty track that doesn't make any sound, okay? Then you just come to the piano roll and then you paste it. So we want to cover as many octaves as possible. So I'm just going to drag this out holding shift and left drag to the right, then control or command down if you're using Mac. So I want to cover down to the second octave, do the same thing again, then cover the 5th and 6th octave, do the same thing again. All right, so now this is just how many bars. Let me put in here. So this is just 4 bars. So I want it to extend to 8 bars because I want to create some variation in our log drum pattern so that doesn't sound too static. I'm going to just highlight all of this, then command B. So now I have everything here. So you can see this is the entire pattern. Make it bigger. So this is the entire pattern. I have to just double click this, then come to my log drum. So I can see this. If you can't see this, all you need to do is enable ghost notes. Just come to this drop down right here, come to view, and then you come to ghost channels. If you don't see this option, just simply press Alt and V, or if you're using Mac, Option and V should fix that for you. So now we have our log drum pattern, we have our log drum sound, and we have the scale, okay? So this is going to guide you for where you should place your notes, all right? So next we're going to do is we're going to tweak our log drum so that it doesn't sound too boring, okay? Because this is the default sound. Well, you can surely get away with this. You know, it doesn't sound so exciting, but there are a few knobs in here that are really easy to use to make it sound even more interesting. One of the easiest knobs to play with is the decay and the release. So when I extend it, you're going to hear how much the notes last now. You can hear that versus when it's normal. You can hear that, so it does make it sound a bit more interesting. Increase the decay. So you can hear that, so that makes it sound even more interesting. Another thing you can also play with, you can play with almost all the buttons right here, but I also like playing with the wave and chorus. Let's see how the waves sound. It can sound a lot more distorted, and when you bring it down, it will sound less distorted. And the chorus, going to keep that. And you can also, in the modulation 1, you can also play with the timing. So all this is going to give you, you know, a unique vibe for your log drum, depending on the vibe you like. You can play with the init now. So you can really play with this and get, you know, a vibe that you really like for your log drums, okay? And you can also play with the sustain. Play with the release. All right, so now after tweaking it to the way you like, you can always come back and edit it. It's not permanent, it's not fixed. You can always come back to tweak it some more, okay, to fit your vibe even better. You can tweak these other buttons as well, but most times I just stick to the mix section, the amplitude, and the first modulation, okay? So you can also get our Amapiano Log drum kit where there are already DX10 presets, so you don't have to tweak yours all the time. For example, these presets, drag and drop on your playlist or your channel rack. You can hear that sound if I drag this in versus this one again. See, they all sound different and unique, so you can get, you know, style from the jump without playing with these buttons too much. You just load it up and, you know, go on with your idea. And each of these tweaks do give your log drums a different vibe. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is come to my piano roll again. So remember, we identified the root key of each chord to be this, right? So it just basically repeats. So now we're going to take this to the 3rd octave, because for mine, it doesn't sound so good right now in the 2nd octave. So I'm going to take it higher up. So it sounds better now. So now when you have identified your root key, all you need to do is play a very simple pattern, okay? Keep it very, very simple. In fact, we're going to play the most common Amapiano log drum pattern, all right? So I'm just going to zoom in right here. I'm going to reduce this, come down to song mode, then may need to increase velocity so you hear it better. So that pattern, dun, 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 make sure it's in a quarter beat for a start. Then you can just copy this and bring it here. Then you can copy this again. Just leave like a note in between. Take it all the way to, let's make everything velocity high. So you can literally still copy the previous pattern and duplicate it. So now this simple pattern is what is the foundation for the crazy things you're going to do while you make your Amapiano log drums, okay? So after creating this very simple pattern, the next we're going to do is play with the note length. For example, I want you to hear, let me solo this. Here are the sounds. Then if I highlight this, let me turn this off to none. If I highlight this note and I make it really, really short, drag it all the way. Could you hear that? Versus so you can use that to make your log drum sound interesting. So let's turn it on with song mode. Then you can also come right here again, and we're going to also make it really short, but I want you to notice the difference. We're going to take it all the way back, but not all the way back. Now we're going to take it forward just one step till it gets really tiny like this. Can you see I don't know if you can see the difference, the size of this guy versus the size of this guy, right? This one is a bit tinier. Hear how it sounds versus let's hear how it sound now. You can hear that variation, right? So let's hear how it all sounds together. I feel like we should have just one more note right here. Let's move it forward. Yeah, then hear it now. So even this note as well, you can also play with the length. You can even make it longer. It doesn't always need to be short. So let's hear how it sound, the first half. Now we can make variations in the other half. It doesn't need to be the exact same thing now. So we can, in the second half, we can come right here, make it none. Make it really tiny as well. Make this really tiny as well. You can literally just play around and see what works for you, then make this all the way back. You can see the difference. This is tiny, this is a bit fatter, this is tiny. Hear how it sounds, comparison. You can hear that, right? So versus, you can hear that. So this is how you can make your log drum sound exciting by just playing with the note lengths. Okay, let's hear with the song. We can also do something similar here. Make all of this long. Then make this tiny. Make this long. So while this is sounding good already, you can also add log drum rolls. Okay, let me show you how to do that. So you can just have, let's say, a note here, for example. So we can make it roll by just duplicating this. Just duplicating that, and you can even make it, you know, shorter by changing from quarter beat to half step. So if I reduce this and then hold my shift and then drag it to the right hand side. Okay, you can also do that as well, but I prefer this. And you can also play with the note length as well to make it even sound more interesting. another roll here. Where the rolls are placed really depends on you, okay, like the vibe you're feeling from your drums or your production. So there's really no rules to tell you where you should have your rolls placed. You can hear that roll. Let me make it solo. So while this is also sounding pretty good, there's a new thing that's trending right now in Amapiano, which is the slides in the log drum. And let me show you how to do it. It's very easy to do this, okay? So you just come to this icon right here that it says slide. This right here, this is the slide, okay? So I'm going to zoom in. And the way you do it, you want to look for notes that sustain. For example, this notes, or you can extend this notes, make it sustain. And it sounds best when it hits before, for example. And it sounds best when it slides just before another note. For example, let me extend this note. Okay, so I want to slide going to this. So this is G3. Since my slide is turned on, I'm going to come to G4 or G5. Make it halfway, or even as short as this. Here it sounds now. Can you hear that slide? So you can make the shorter it is. You can take it higher. The higher it is, also the more obvious the slide. So you can have that. Let's hear. Or you can even take it down below the notes. So you can hear that. So you can also use that to make your log drum sound more exciting. So I prefer that. And then you can just add the slides in a few places. Then I can add the slide as well. This is G3, so go to G4 again. So if you observe this one, I placed it directly on the bass notes. So that is G3, G4. They're starting exactly at the same time, but this one allow you to have some space. You can see that. So that is because of, like I said, the vibe I wanted. Okay, sometimes you want it to play a little bit before it slides, while sometimes you want it to just slide from the jump. Let me bring this down to a low octave. So while this is already sounding good, you can keep adding as much slides as you want, but try not to overdo this so that your log drums do not sound too busy, especially if an artist is going to sing on that part. You don't want your log drum to sound too crazy, okay? And one last thing you can do is play with the notes octaves. For example, I have some notes on the third. I can bring some to the lower octave. For example, I can bring these guys to a lower octave. Bring them to a low octave. You can even take it to a high octave. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, you can also play with some other notes in the scale as well, but most of the notes are going to be on the bass notes of your chord. So let's move some notes around. Let's say I want this. Move this up here. So I like that position right there for those two notes. So with this, you can surely go and make, pro log drums. You can even add your own spice, your own flavors. You can even try by layering your log drums as well. Maybe use a different log drum tweak, for example, this one. So if you found this tutorial helpful, hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below for more tutorials, tips, and tricks. I remain so classy. This is STuts. See you soon. Cheers.